You see, these tariffs were meaningfully were discussed as simply U.S. retaliatory tariffs, and that is malarkey. Global trading partners, from an economic standpoint, have instituted very modestly higher tariffs than what the U.S. has implemented uh, on foreign trade partners. The chart on the left-hand side gives you an indication of what that mix looks like. And when you net this all out, coming into this year, the U.S. had tariff rates about 1.5%, including the 2018 and 19 China tariffs. And foreign trade partners had a tariff rate that was about 4.8%, so about 3.3% higher. So the economic tariffs on U.S. exports were frankly de minimis, and pretty much high rates were concentrated in smaller countries that didn't matter so much. We had meaningful free trade agreements with Canada and Mexico, and while we don't have a free trade agreement explicitly with Europe, the tariff rates on U.S. goods in Europe were only marginally higher than they are in the U.S. The U.S. effort to implement these tariff rates is pretty extreme and nothing like what you'd expect with just tit for tat economic tariffs in place. Of course, the argument is that there are non-tariff barriers, and that by looking at trade balances, you're going to have an effect on those. They better capture the non-tariff barriers. But there's all sorts of reasons why you might expect economies to not have a demand for U.S. goods, particularly developing economies who may not be nearly as wealthy as the U.S. and demand high value U.S. goods. Or also important to recognize, in many of these cases, the U.S. is providing a variety of different services and effectively getting goods in response. And so the U.S. deficit in aggregate is not nearly as substantial as simply looking at the goods trade.